Hi, my name's Will. I'm here at Trap Pond State Park in Laurel, Delaware. Today we want to talk a little bit about how we measure rainfall and how you can determine the number of gallons that falls on your front yard, your driveway, or even your town during a rain event. So we've all heard a weather report where the weather person says that we're going to get a certain amount of rain in number of inches, a ½ inch, we're going to get 3/4 of an inch of rain, we're going to get 1/10 of an inch of rain. But what exactly does that mean? It's actually pretty simple. Let's pretend that we've left these 3 containers out before a rainstorm comes in. The rain comes down, and then after that rain event, we're going to come out and we're going to measure the amount of water that's fallen in the containers. And we measure it in inches, just like the weather person says. So we're going to use a ruler, and we're going to stick it down in the level containers, and you'll see there that it reads about 1/2 inch. We'll measure this one. That is 1/2 inch as well. And 1/2 inch in that container also. You'll notice that these containers are all different shapes and sizes. They're not the same size. When the rain comes down, it doesn't matter what size the container is, as long as it has a flat bottom and straight sides, the container is going to gather that much rain. So if the weather person says we're going to get 1 inch of rain, a container with straight walls left outside will fill up with 1 inch in height of water. All right, now here's the fun part, is we can actually use math to determine how many gallons of water falls within a certain area. Now I know I said math, but don't worry, it's very simple math, and I won't say anything if you want to use a calculator. So if we know the amount of rainfall in gallons that hits a small area on the ground, we can use that to extrapolate and find out how many gallons falls in a larger area. Our small area that we're going to use is 12 inches by 12 inches. And everybody knows that 12 inches is 1 foot. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a number to determine how many inches of rain or how many gallons of rain would fall in a 1 foot square area. You're going to have to trust me on this one, but if 1 inch of rain fell on this 12 inch by 12 inch square, we would get 0.62 gallons. This container here holds 0.62 gallons of water. This is a full 1 gallon container filled up to about here. Now this 0.62 gallons number, this is an important number to remember. We're going to use this in all of our future calculations when we find things out. So if you want to write this down or plug it into your phone, 0.62 gallons is a really important number to remember. So next we want to determine the larger area that we want to find the number of gallons that falls in the rain, whether it's your front yard or your home or your driveway. To make things simpler in this instance, we're going to measure a parking space and see how many gallons of rain will fall with 1 inch of rain on a parking space. First, we're going to measure 2 sides of the parking space. Remember, since we know that it's gallons per square foot, 0.62 gallons in a square foot, we're going to measure using feet. So this side of the parking space measures 20 feet. And this side of the parking space is 10 feet. Okay, so we know that the parking space is 10 feet by 20 feet. If we multiply 10 by 20 feet, we get the total number of square feet within the parking space. You can do it on your calculator if you want to do it on paper or even in your head. My math came up with 10 times 20 equals 200 square feet. Now what that means is if we have 0.62 gallons that fills up 1 square feet, all we have to do is multiply 0.62 gallons times 200 square feet, and we'll get the number of gallons that fell on the parking space. That's right, 124 gallons. So 124 gallons, that's a lot of water. If you wanted to actually fill up this parking space with 124 gallons of water, the amount that falls with 1 inch of rain, you would have to use a bucket like this, a 5-gallon bucket, and it would take 25 trips back and forth to the spigot of you filling this bucket to equal the amount of rain that fell with 1 inch of rain in the same parking space. Okay, so far we've been talking about what happens if an inch of rain falls and how much that equals in gallons in a certain area. But what if we don't get a full inch of rain? An inch is a lot of rain, but most of the time we don't get quite that much. Sometimes we get more, sometimes we get less. But it's a simple matter of using fractions to multiply your final number. So for example, if we only got ½ an inch of rain in this parking space, what we would do is we would take that 124 gallons and we would multiply it by 0.5 or a half. That would give us 62 gallons. So with ½ an inch of rain, we would get 62 gallons on this parking spot. If we got a lot of rain and we got 1 3/4 inches of rain, well, that's the same as 1.75 inches of rain. So what we would do is we would multiply that 124 gallons times 1.75, and it would give us 217 gallons of rainwater falling on the parking space with 1 3/4 inches of rain. So you can use this math to determine the amount of gallons of rain that falls in just about any area. For example, a football field, if you went out and measured it, and this includes the end zones, is 360 feet by 160 feet. That gives us 57,600 square feet times 0.62 gallons. And if we had a storm that dropped 1 inch of rain on a football field, that would equal 35,712 gallons. 1 inch of rain falling on the town of Dover, that would be 415 billion gallons of rainwater that falls on the town of Dover. How about the state of Delaware? If we were to get a big storm that dumped 1 inch of rain on all of Delaware, it would equal 43 trillion gallons of water. How big is 43 trillion gallons of water? I have no idea. That's a huge number. I can't even envision it or explain it to you. But what I can tell you is 43 trillion gallons of water would cover the entire state of Delaware in 1 inch of water. I want to thank you all for sitting through this and doing the math along with me. It's a lot of fun. I want to encourage you to find out how much rainwater will fall in your driveway, on your front yard, your town, your home. I think you'll be surprised at the actual number of gallons that fall.